My dear listeners, this evening, I am of the opinion that rather than concentrate on all the things of this world, we should bother more with trying to be happy and live happily with our spouses, with our families, and friends. Try not to make someone an enemy, because we are all on a journey in this world, and someday, somehow, and even somewhere, death will interrupt that journey and it will come to an end eventually. And because you don't know how close this most dreaded visitor is at interrupting your own journey, it would make more meaning for you to live this moment of your life as if the visitor is coming the next minute. How do I mean? I mean, you should love your spouse and family unconditionally. That is, that person you have made up your mind to say, I want to marry you. Remember that that person is also a human being. Do not be someone that will make the person live in misery for the rest of his life or for the rest of her life. Do not be remembered for breaking someone's heart, for being ungrateful to another person, because you feel she disrespects you, because you feel the man does not take care of your need enough, because you feel you found someone that could give you a child, that this one can't give you a child. Are you God? Are you God? The good thing is, if we had a pre-knowledge of certain things that God can do, most of us will abuse it. If we knew someone that it would take 5 or 7 years before she can conceive, if we had a knowledge of that, some men may not even say hello to such a woman because they don't want to wait for 7 years before having a first child after getting married. And that's the mystery of this life we live in. Because we only know the things we see with our eyes. The things we don't see with our eyes, we can never know. Those things are reserved totally for God and God alone. That's why it baffles me when someone will say, oh, we are married for 5 years. I mean, I can't wait any longer. My people are saying that, I should get a child for them. Grandchild. I laugh. Because such people don't understand the things of godliness. You don't understand that whether you have 20 children, you have 100 children, a day will come when you no longer even think, remember whether you had children. Because you'll be in a different plane altogether. You'll be in a planet completely where you don't know what is even happening to them. What is important is the kind of relationship you cut while you are on earth here. And because you don't know how close this unwanted visitor will come, you should love those around you and try to be the best friend people around could turn to. Sometimes it may be difficult, yes, we know. Challenge yourself and make up your mind to leave a legacy behind when you die yourself. A legacy that will make family members, friends, neighbors, the community, and even the society at large remember you as long as they live before they also die. as terrible, as dreadful, as cruel we look at death, there are still some good lessons to learn from it. Even though it's a visitor that nobody ever wishes to have around. Nobody ever want to entertain death as a visitor in their families. But then, when it happens, it has happened. But there is one major thing and a major lesson that it brings to us as human beings. And that is, we need to develop a stronger relationship with God first, and then the next person around you. That is a very big lesson that we must pick from that. Because I am yet to witness a scene where somebody dies and some people are celebrating that this my enemy is dead. I am not talking about terrorists who die in the course of carrying out their act of wickedness. I mean in our normal day-to-day living. That a neighbor that you hate so much and other that you are not in talking terms, you don't like his business or her business, dies. I don't see anyone celebrate such. And so, if that is the case, that you can't celebrate when even your enemy dies, then a lesson you must pick from the power of death, most importantly, is that you need to develop a strong relationship with God and the next person around you. Because if you have the fear of God inside of you, you will know that whatever you do to someone that is hurtful will make them look at you differently. Because in this world, we know where we are in this world. No one knows where he or she is ending when you close your eyes in sleep. That is why, if we all believe that there is life after this life, if there is a place you are going, then you must understand the fact that death should be a reconciliatory factor in making families come even closer, in making enemies become friends. Because when you realize that what you fight over, you will leave behind and go to a destination that you don't know what it looks like, you will stop fighting for things that are meaningless. Property, cars, woman or man, children, you name them. No one dies and the person is buried with all the money he or she had saved in a bank into the grave. I have not heard of such. You have $5 million in your bank account and you are dead. They go and withdraw it and put it in the grave and bury you with it. I've never heard of such. Or you have acquired 20 houses. By the time you die, they now go and demolish all of them, take all the rubble and dig a grave that will contain your houses and contain the dead body of the person and cover it. You go with it. Or in the livestock you have 10 horses or 20 cows or sheep or goat. And by the time you die, they take everything and bury all of them along with you. Nothing like that happens. And so, after you seek happiness, affirmation, love, and security in various relationships around you, you will begin to realize that there are two major reasons why you are here. We are all here because we are living now. After here, there will be death. That's it. A human being has two calls. One, you are called into this world. The next one is that you will be called to the other world, which you don't know. And for someone who cares about how God does things, you must be concerned about the kind of life you are living. The kind of people you are maltreating and doing evil acts against. Another lesson, and a major lesson, is that whenever someone close to us passes on, it reminds you that, oh, I see. That means I no longer will see this person for the rest of my life. Yes, that is the obvious reality. That is the obvious reality. That is the obvious reality. So it will make you to re-examine your own life values and goals in this world. Because a contact with death by someone awakens us to the fact that someday, we too will die. It will make you ask yourself questions by yourself. Will I have fulfilled my purpose in this life when I die? Supposing death comes tomorrow, am I prepared? Would I have done enough things to be remembered in a very good way in this world? You will even have to ask yourself a question like, why did we come to this world in the first place if we will have to die and embark on a journey that we don't know where it is going to terminate? You see what I mean? Now, when you face the reality of death that visits every home, my friends, learn from me tonight, if you have taken everything about this world for granted, that whatever has a beginning has an end. And that is the obvious reality. That there was a day people celebrated that you were born into this world, naming ceremony was performed and all of that. You began to exist. You began to live in this world. There will equally come a day when that journey that began when you were giving birth to will come to an end. For so many millions, their journeys have ended. Some journey will end tonight. Some journey will end tomorrow. And on and on and on like that. Supposing your own journey ends tomorrow, what would you want your spouse and children to remember you for? What would you want the people in the compound where you live remember you for? What would you want people in the community where you live remember you for? What would you want the people around where you work or where you do your business, what would you want them to remember you for? Are you just concerned about what you enjoy now as you live? You should equally be concerned about where you're going to end up eventually, and what people and your family will always remember you for. Let me tell you one sad thing. One sad thing is that some people are so bad even in their families, that even at their death, family members breathe sigh of relief. This one, we thank God for his life, we thank God for her life. But it was like your death was like good riddance to the rest of the family. Re-examine yourself. Re-examine yourself. Because what you do, how you do them, determines a lot of things that concerns you. And how eventually your own journey is going to go. Some journeys would have lasted longer, but some invite the termination of their journey with their own hands by the things they do, by the way they do things around other people. Because remember also that there is this thing called the law of karma. Whatever you do bounces back at you. And so, in as much as you want a perfect woman, you want a perfect man, remember also that you have not formed any individual to place a demand of perfection on another human being. That's why what must constitute what you look out in a person should be love. Will you be compatible with this person? Will I love this person? Will this person love me? That should be the paramount thing in your mind, in your quest for a loved one. Because these days people place high demand. The woman I want to marry must be rich, must be this, must be that, must have that, must have this. Or the man that I want to marry, that man must have at least 2-3 houses, have 2-3 cars, one will be reserved for me and all that. Oh yes, there's nothing wrong with all of that. Nothing wrong with that, absolutely. But ultimately and at the end of the day, all those niceties, you will leave them behind if the time comes when that visitor knocks at your door. You see, death is certain, very certain, very certain. And if you realize that it will come anytime, then we will stop placing unnecessary demands on things that we do not have control over. That woman you're expecting to give you a child after 9 months of marriage, after 1 year, or after 2 years at most, you didn't create the woman. You didn't put the womb in her. You are not the giver of children. So you do not have a full knowledge of whether it will take that woman 5 years to conceive or whether it will take 10 years. You see? Because whatever you own in this world, including children, you will leave behind here and go. So we must place love above every other demand and request. Dear listeners, I have talked to us enough tonight. Tonight, I want you to go to sleep on a very serious, sober reflection tonight. Continue to ask yourself, is it worth killing someone else to grab what you think you need? Is it worth fighting over anything in this world? Because death is inevitable, my brother. It will come for anybody and for everybody, anytime, whenever he wishes. Nobody has control over it. Continue to ponder over it. While I leave you tonight, I want to say, have a glorious Sunday evening. Have a blessed week ahead of you. By the grace of God, if we are alive till next Sunday, if that visitor does not come, we will be on air here. We pray that we'll be on air by this same time next week, Sunday. Until then, my name still remains Tony HeSmart. By the grace of God, I am the presenter and anchor person on this frequency. Have a good night and good night.